Right, welcome back to the 80 Star Basketball Channel, the only star basketball channel bringing you Cajun Cardboard. Brian was a great talk. Just had a fantastic conversation with him. He's kind of, as you can see after the Beckett thing, I'm kind of bringing on people that just getting different information and different viewpoints in the hobby, and it was just really cool to have him on. And if you're looking at this interview or talk, it really was not any type of debate. I did not want it to be. I told him beforehand, this isn't going to be any point counterpoint type discussion. It really was. Just have a lot of respect for him, and he's doing a really big thing with the tiers and his hierarchy. His Michael Jordan hierarchy that just, man, I actually, as I found out more about it, I'm just really impressed. I didn't realize how much info and how much time he put into this. One thing you will note about the interview is that we did an hour, but I had a problem. I was going to just put it out the whole thing as we talked. Usually I edit, but this I was running a process on my machine and it crashed and it cut out, and it changed up the recording. So the recording got garbled for about 15 or 20 minutes. It definitely was not anything I could use, so I cut it out. Basically, we talked about two things. We talked about at that time, we talked a little bit about what he thinks is a rookie card, what I think is a rookie card. He very much likes the pack pull. That for him to be a true rookie card, it needs to be pack pulled. And for me, distribution doesn't matter. We just touched on those. There wasn't much. Too much to talk about. I can't remember everything that was said, but that was the main point. But we already know that about each other, and I really wanted to just find out more information about him. So if you're looking for me to be some type of Fleer versus Star thing, that wasn't what I wanted, nor did it even get into that. The one thing that I also lost was him talking about his hierarchy, and I wanted to preface it beforehand that he put a ton of work into this, and he did it as a springboard. It wasn't to tell you what to buy and in what order. It was he just put a ton of work because he got into cards. And as he says in it, he's kind of like a tortoise hare, and he really just goes full rabbit and sprints forward. And when he did this, he realized that there was a lot involved, and he had to do. So that unfortunately I cut as soon as my process stopped, so I was able to get it at the end, and it stopped being garbled. So I kind of recut back in right where we left off, and I just it basically is pretty much as it was after that. But I think I might have taken a little bit out in the ending, but nothing important. So, but I did want to make sure that we discuss this hierarchy, and I did say, hey, use the promo code Cajun, and I'll say it again in there. Use that. He's trying to monetize this stuff, and he's put in a ton of work, and it is a ton of work. And if regardless of how anyone looks at what he's collecting is not, or isn't collecting, this is just something that he, it's hard or impossible not to notice of his contribution to the hobby right here in this thing. It's incredible. So, but one of the main points, there's actually a couple points where we agree. We actually collect kind of the same on the type. We're both now focused on rare. So he's going to talk about that. We've really gotten, that's what I'm focused on. Also, Dustin, Sports Card Dad, he's getting on that. I think there's been this shift, and I think it's for a fundamental reason of cards, being valuable. And he's saying kind of the same thing, and he's shifting. And that's why he put up his 86 Fleer for sale last night. And he's kind of like, why do I need a 10? I want the card, but I can get a lower grade. He's kind of focusing on rare and things that he wants, but maybe he doesn't need those 10s. He doesn't need the 50x multiplier kind of thing. So that's what he's looking at. So anyway, I'm not going to talk too long, but again, this is just a chat. If you're looking for any fireworks, or if you're looking for anything crazy, or it's just two guys talking, it's more of almost a meet and greet, and me just kind of asking some questions, and just a good time meeting him. And it was just an awesome, fun time. I had a great time, and I thank Brian for coming on the show. So anyway, check it out. And a screen share up. I was going to show you a clip from the Beckett
Sure.
interview that I just did. So I don't know if you saw that or whatnot, but
I listened to some of it. Yeah, I listened to. I think most of it. Was it in three pieces? I might have listened
that
to
was
two.
that was Beckett's podcast.
Okay.
So yeah, that was Beckett's podcast. We did an initial. He started out. It was Ike. Well, it was Darren Ravel that they recorded the $925,000 sale, and Darren Ravel covered Beckett and Dave. He got them for the interview,
Yeah.
and Beckett did a response, and I did a response to Beckett's, basically kind of disagreeing on the classifications, the
Sure.
whole the rookie thing. And I actually did a response video for Beckett, and he actually responded. It was like a month later. And he reached out and said, "Oh, you disagree with me? Sure, let's get together and I'll do something with you." And I thought it was
Yeah.
like instant mad respect for the guy.
Yeah. He's
And
super sharp, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Beckett. I came away with a lot of understanding. It's really cool because it's such a hot topic, and we'll
Hmm.
we'll talk about that. But first, because I started this and we said hello, I just for now that we're recording for my viewers, I want them to go on whenever you guys use a PWCC Marketplace. Cajun didn't ask me to do this, but use his promo code Cajun. So I
Cajun.
want to make sure that you.
Fanatics. Fanatics, Ryan. You
Fanatics.
got to
Sorry,
get.
sorry,
And
sorry.
look, hey, I still slip up all the time. I'm terrible at it, but I'm starting to catch myself. I'm starting to get a little bit better.
I still type in PWCC, and then I am like, as soon as I see it
Right.
hanging with
Right.
Fanatics, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I now got to get used to that. But you did switch to alt, and you're now doing. I did notice you just started covering alt weekly. So
Yeah, that was on me. So I communicated with the alt folks, and they were interested in me maybe doing some auction recaps, just similar, maybe a little bit more abbreviated to the ones that I do on Monday mornings for Fanatics. And so I was like, sure, I don't mind waking up early Friday morning, getting in the office and getting some stuff done, letting adrenaline get me through, and the weekend being on the horizon. I can get in here early and knock it out. I usually try to get those auction recaps up at around 8 o'clock a.m. Central Time. So everybody should have those super early on Monday mornings, and then hopefully, if all sticks and they want me to be part of that, I can do that on Friday mornings too.
gotcha. Yeah. Well, so I had a couple questions. One is start out how I saw you had a burnout a little while ago and you took a pause and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa. And just since it was probably after 3 months, I started doing videos and me only doing a couple a week, my
Yeah,
prep and answering questions, it's so time consuming. Yours are so much more involved. I was like, oh, I totally see that.
yeah,
To talk about that a little, as much as you
yeah,
want.
yeah. That's my life, Ryan. So I am one of those people that they're like, well, eat in moderation, do this in moderation, just do slow and steady. I am like the tortoise and the hare, except I'm the rabbit. And so I will sprint into a wall and crash and get bloody and beat up and then look around, figure it out. And then I'll sprint again and I'll crash into a wall. I do it with diet. I do it with exercise. I do it with content. I do it with collecting and buying cards. I do it in pretty much every aspect. And I'm 50, man. I just turned 50. So it ain't changing, man. I'm just one of those people. And like, hey, look, I may take another. The good thing about that was, Ryan, I took about, I said I was going to take 30 days off. I think I took like 18
Right.
days off.
Hey, that was a
But
short.
yeah, I was like, I just want to make sure. I was like, am I doing this for the right reasons? And then maybe is there a more efficient way to focus? And so around that time is when I also decided I'm gonna start talking to more people. I want to know more. I want people to know less about what I think, and I want to share with other people more what some of the other veteran collectors in the hobby think. Maybe even outside my sphere of influence. Maybe we talk to Mahomes people. We talk to star folks. We talk to people that do completely different stuff in the hobby. And so I'm trying to kind of expand my purview of my channel a little bit to kind of appease the masses and give the people what they want.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, because you hit it up with energy. Every time I watch you, I'm like, I don't even know how he does this daily with that much energy. And especially like responding to people. It's like making the video is one thing, and then you gotta, have the energy for like responses and emails and things like
Mm-hmm.
this. And I was just like, wow. So when you took that break, I was looking at it going, I can see how that totally
Yeah,
would happen. But
I'm in a good place now. I'm in a
Yeah,
good place
right
now.
on,
We'll
right
see.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad you're back and hitting everything up.
Yeah,
And you came back in time for the star run, huh?
that's right. Yeah, just in time. Just in time.
And I also just saw that one last thing just on you. I saw you're a baller. I'm a baller too.
Man,
You were talking about
was
it. Was
was
exactly. And
okay. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
keyword.
yes.
But you were talking about I played against some NBA players too. I was my channel actually doesn't even know this. I don't say anything. But I was one point I was captain of in 1 week I had five. I was captain of five basketball leagues. I was just constantly playing, but just so many
Yeah.
injuries, everything. But I played against some NBA players.
Yeah.
Nothing notable. You had like Finley and Shaq.
Oh, dude, it's a different level, man. There's always a bigger fish. And then I've coached some NBA players. So I got into coaching at a really high level after in the grassroots game with the Nike EYBL League. So I'm a basketball lifer. I'm in and out of cards over the course of the last 40 years, but basketball never stopped. So I was either playing, coaching, collecting, or doing all three at the same time. I was always doing something. So basketball is sort of my passion. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. So it's in my blood, man, period.
Gotcha. Yep.
So
Yeah. What real quick, what was your first intro into the hobby? What was like what was
yeah,
your first card?
the first time I remember cards, and it's going to be the same thing for anybody that's near my age, was baseball cards, not basketball at all, right? And now I'm 100% basketball, but it was baseball cards. I remember in 1980, I was 6 years old, and my older cousin Todd took me to the flea market, and he was collecting the 1976 Cincinnati Reds team set baseball cards of tops.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't have a team in Louisville, Kentucky, so the Reds were the closest thing, and so Cincinnati Reds were our baseball team of choice for most Kentuckians, and it's just right across the river to Cincinnati. And so he took me to the flea market, and he showed me, and I was fascinated by how they had numbers in the sets behind it, and he wanted to put them in order, and he had a little bit of the OCD stuff that I had, and so he was trying to complete his sets and this and that. And I just remember flipping through that, and I was like, I want to do what my big cousin, my hero, my big cousin Todd does. I want to do what he does. And so the rest is history. I got into 1980 tops packs, basketball and baseball after my t-ball games or my basketball games. My
Oh
dad,
wow.
we would stop at the convenience store, we'd pop in and we grab packs, man. And the rest is history.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had 80. I actually did 86 Fleer. My brother got them, and I remember opening them back in the van, and we would just throw the cards in the back. And we had 86 Fleer cards where we found them for at least a year and a half, like stuck in the seats and
Yeah.
everything. But my first real love was 88 Fleer. I get $3, and I would go and get like three packs. I'd have to ride my bike like 5 miles to get them. And it was so funny is I didn't care about Jordan. I wanted Magic Johnson and Sacramento Kings. In Sacramento,
Yeah.
a Kings fan, and that was all I really cared about. But it was cool seeing Bird and Bird, and getting those and just getting them, and then I'd stick them in my pocket and ride back.
Yeah.
They
Are
go
you,
for the
are you in
ride.
Sacramento?
Yeah.
So what do you think about DeRozan? What do you think about the pickup?
Oh
Good,
my
good,
gosh,
bad. Yeah. I
it's
mean,
no, you got to realize so many years of pain that
I
almost
know.
it just comes into hope that anything. Last year it was surprising to see. I thought the year before we were strong going into the
Yeah.
playoffs, and then obviously the heartbreaking loss to Golden State, and then so I had high hopes, and then just the season was a massive
Mm-hmm.
disappointment. I mean, I was like near the end when they kind of fell apart and. I mean, it was a little bit of vengeance when we beat Golden State in the one game thing, so that was
Yeah.
cool. But that was like the only piece of the season. We kind of all got really let down. Like we're going through so many years of a drought, so we're like, wait, like yes, and then it
Yeah.
was like, wait, no. If you start to get better, you continue. If the same team is there and grow, and
Yeah.
so I'm hopeful on DeMar DeRozan as a player. It's chemistry, and
Yeah.
how it works. So that's really going to be kind of seeing where he fits in and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I all I can be is hopeful. I
Yeah.
hope him and
Yeah.
Fox
Yeah.
have a good friendship. So that's a start.
Yeah.
And Monk came back. Monk didn't have to,
Yeah. I know.
right?
Monk could have, yeah, Monk could have done whatever the hell he wanted, bro. He's a
Exactly,
bucket getter
exactly.
supreme.
That's
Yep.
the thing that makes me like, there's still hope. It's like when players
I
do
like
that.
him. I like him, man. I
Yeah.
do. I'll be honest with you. I think DeRozan does matter. I think you throw a guy, and I mean, everybody, he may be on the downside, but he's a relevant player. In the NBA, your window is very short. People think it's like much longer than it is. The Nuggets window might have closed already. It might be
Yeah.
closing this year. Isn't it
Yeah.
funny? Like, well, the Nuggets are going to win 5, or the Golden State Warriors are going to win 7. They're going to break more, they're going to win more than Jordan. No, dude, it closes fast with
Yeah.
injuries, contract. The cap is a big deal. There's just, you can't do it. You just can't keep it
Right.
up, man.
Right. As long as we don't face the best team in basketball, which apparently is the Pelicans, you guys destroyed us by like
Oh,
40 every single time. I was
it's
like,
just a
please no.
matchup.
As
Yeah.
soon as we got matched up, we all just went, oh God. And
Yeah.
we all just chalked up the L immediately. Then I think we started out like the first quarter. We like started out like
Yeah.
half good for a minute and we all went, maybe. And then, yeah, that was over. It
Well,
was
the
like,
Thunder is the team that I would be worried about. Everybody in the league needs to be worried about them, not just this year, but for a very long time. Their window is about as big as it gets right now.
if
Their
you get
draft
a,
capital, too.
if you get a chance, I don't know if you ever been to the NBA Summer League.
No, I haven't.
Go for an experience that you have. Oh my gosh, that's like the best basketball. It is the most unique basketball experience I have
Yeah,
had.
I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, because I saw Wemby. I went to his first game. I was front row because there's no on the sides. If you get there and like early,
Yeah,
it's all
first
first come
come.
first
Yeah,
serve on seats, except for
that's
like the
cool.
side and I sat on Wemby's tip-off game and Brandon Miller was the 1 versus 2. They kind of put that together, but
That's big time. That's exciting. That's something
oh, it
you'll remember
was.
forever, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. I saw Wemby's first tip off, kind of in a
yeah,
Spurs uniform. So it was pretty
sure.
cool. But all the agents, the players from the games, because you got to remember with the Cox and the Thomas and Mack, there's
Yeah,
two,
they're
they're
back and forth,
connected.
right? Yeah, they're
Yeah. So
walking. Yeah,
there's literally like 50 feet separate, but they're connected. So you just
yeah,
walk from one gym inside to the other, but so do all the players. And they're all sitting around you and all
yeah.
it's like the coach, and there's more scouts than you can imagine, but
I
just,
bet.
yeah, and the
Yeah,
coaching staff. And it's just like this total surreal experience it's almost like you're at an NBA event. You're not at a
yeah, yeah.
game really.
It's really a
And
tryout, Ryan, is what it is. I mean, you got your guys that are going to lock and they're going to be on rosters like Miller and Wimby, but then you got to remember, I would have to guess 90% of the dudes that are playing are not going to play in the NBA that season. They're probably going
right.
overseas or maybe going to the G League. Most are going overseas. And so it's really a tryout. And when you say scouts, I would assume that the vast majority of the scouts were for probably overseas teams or little G League
It
scouts,
could
And
be.
I know the NBA guys are looking for those guys to fill in roster positions, but just from having coached the guys that go to the summer league, because I've had a bunch of kids go through the summer league, it's like, we're on pins and needles waiting to hear, did you get a look? Did you get did you get a promise? Are they going to try to pull you in? So it's exciting, man. I know it's exciting for those kids. I mean, they can be millionaires overnight, just one big game.
Oh my
Isn't that
gosh.
crazy? One
Couldn't
big
even
game,
imagine.
millionaires.
Couldn't even imagine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy stuff. But cool. Well, so as far as like just asking you stuff, there was no specific. That's what's funny here. It's a trap. No, watching you cover all the cards. So what's funny, the things like when with Star, like I've watched some of the things. Like I remember, I think one of my first before I even started doing videos. I watched one of the things you said. You were kind of like at first you were like the Star thing going to get a PSA. It's going to get a a little bit of a bump on the hype, and then it's going to fizzle. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I don't think so. I think this is more fundamental in nature. I think a perception, and I from like a Star person. So, and what's funny, I didn't. So, FYI, like. I was been Fleer. I had, my whole life coming in. I've come in and out of the hobby a few times. Heavy Jordan. I've always been. He's the GOAT. He's it. That's really that. And like Bird and some other Hall of Famers from the '80s, but really kind of a Jordan collector. Mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I got back into it, and I remember, when I saw it, it was gosh, I got about a year and 3 months ago. I got back into it, and I had an '86 Fleer, and I remember like being, I kind of looked at it, and it's just the 2 years of stats always bugged me. So I was kind of like, eh. And I always know that the Star one, I actually bought a Star because I was like, I'm going to get the XRC and I'm going to have the RC and everything's good, right?
Yeah.
And I bought that, and I bought it for, I think it was 2017. I bought it, and I bought it for like $5,000. I bought an 8 or an 8.5, and it had, I mean, the centering was like normal, bad, like they all are, but I had 9.5, 9.5, and nine subs.
Yeah.
And I put it up there. I bought it for 5,000. I remember my buddy was like, "Oh, you overpaid." And I was like, "Really?" And
Yeah.
I started kind of in just like in a month, I was like, maybe I'll see what I can get for it. I kind of didn't care. And I sold it for 7,000 in like a second. I
Yeah.
put it up and it sold so fast. And it was like the first time I ever made like that much on a
On
swing.
the
You know,
card.
remember
Yeah.
back in the day when cards were harder.
Well, it's impossible to, in hindsight, say you overpaid for anything in 2017. It's impossible to overpay
Right.
unless you were buying. Let me think. Who's no longer playing the sport. That's about the only way you could overpay in 2017 because everything just went ballistic.
Right, right, for sure. And then I got back in when I saw that PSA graded and I started doing the research. And by the way, props to you. I saw you did a star video and you actually did the research. You went out there and you looked at everything. And
Yeah.
that was even part of what I looked at or listened to. But I really got into it and I saw,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought to myself, I was kind of like thinking, and I kind of went, first license card from a base set. It's easy for me. I kind of went, okay, that's the true rookie card. And these cards are, it's like, and then the population difference. And then I was like, so if I'm taking this mindset, looking at it, like, are these just like these hidden gems that what is everyone, why is the market like kind of ignoring? I mean, they're fairly expensive. So this is about a year and 3 months ago. They're
Yeah.
fairly expensive, but these should be vastly, I do data modeling. So I was like looking at the types. I'm like, if these are the rookie cards, what does that make 86 Fleer? And I kind of went, all right, well, if that is like to me, it's like looking at the company Star kind of being like, okay, if I just look at it like now, and this helped when I did this interview with Beckett and it was so much information. It was really good hearing his perspective. And I got into it, and then I kind of just went, okay, wow, this is like, to me, it's just a company that is licensed, that it might as well be Fleer or Tops. Okay, if the
Yeah.
population is this low, this is just incredibly undervalued. So I started buying some. And I started the channel because the more I got into it, I learned about, Moncriefs and the rare ones, Laniers and ones that you probably aren't familiar with, but just the unique bags in each one. It seems like there's all these stories. And I got into it like that. And I started looking at it totally different from a valuation perspective. And I heard you, and this is where I was getting to with all that. I heard you talk and you said, kind of like what's a rookie. And so I've, obviously this battle of which one's the true rookie card and who thinks what. Um, and I heard you, and you had the best explanation that I liked. I actually, for someone who I disagreed with, I went, yeah, I love that the two explanations I heard you say said, I got back into it and I just gravitated towards 86 Fleer. I don't know why. You said I just did. And you said,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and another time you said, pack pulled. That
Yeah.
matters to me. And I believe it's the true rookie because it's pack pulled.
Yep.
So talk to that. What do you think of the star, like the licensing? What do you think about all that?
I've done my research. I did my research. A lot of people, they think I'm 86 Fleer driven. I've been to the mountaintop for 86 Fleer. Okay. So let's be clear. I had the entire set in PSA 10, stickers, everything included. I turned down, for better or worse. Well, for worse, $101.8 million. I was like, no, I'm going to chill. I'm going to hang on to that. And then I ended up selling it and I did really well. So don't feel sorry for me, but I did
Okay.
not sell it for $1.8 million. And then I kept the two Jordans. And then, as we talked about before we started recording, by the time people watch this, those two Jordans, PSA 10s, the sticker and the base, will have sold for better or worse. This time, for better or worse, we'll see. Sunday, I guess, whatever that is, September 8th will be the day that I no longer own any Fleer cards. So I had 3 PSA 8 Fleer complete sets. I had 2 PSA 9 Fleer complete sets. And I was one of maybe 7 people in the world that had the 86 Fleer PSA 10 complete set.
Oh,
So I've been to the
wow.
mountaintop on Fleer. I actually dove into Star as well. I don't know how many people actually know that. I did do a video on it because it was fun. It was a fun ride. And I chose BGS 8.5. I chose BGS 8.5 after PSA had already agreed to grade them because I felt, and I still feel, uh, in fact, I feel more confident that the PSA stuff is vastly overpriced right now. You said the word fundamental. It is in no way, shape, or form fundamental. It is completely inorganic. I've seen it before, and when I saw it before, guess where I saw it? I saw it on the 86 Fleer. When it went from 40,000 when I bought it to a couple years later selling for 840,000. So I've seen it before. I've seen it with other cards before. Anything that goes up this much, this fast, that's been out for a retired player for 40 years will come back. Nothing has changed. There's the same quantity produced. They're moving from one slab to another. There's excitement about that. And I get it. That is why I went and bought a bunch of BGS 8.5s because I was like, while everybody's distracted buying the PSA 6s, 7s, and 8s, I'm going to go snatch these 8.5s. Everybody's going to forget about them. And I had no intention of crossing them. I like them in the BGS slabs, to be quite honest with you. That's just me. I mean, I would like a star in a PSA slab a lot as well, but I decided to go 8.5, and I'm looking at my spreadsheet over here. I got to 18. I think there's 25. Is there 25 star licensed Jordans, not including fakes?
I believe it's 27.
Is it 27?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm missing something. I counted 25 that I knew were real. I know there was a couple that I thought might have come out later, but I'm including the best of the best from 1986, which may or may not have been released in 1990.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sound right?
It was like it was like a weird, yeah.
It was weird stuff. Yeah, we don't need to I'm sure you're going to go through all that on your channel. Anyway, I had 18 of them and then decided to get out of them because, you know, A, they went up in value, and B, that's not what I love. You know, I was doing it almost as a set collector. I do love set collecting. But once I get the set complete or get near the end of the set and somebody makes me an offer I can't refuse, I let it go. And it all passed for me lead back to Jordan. So I am a first and foremost Jordan collector. So had a blast, learned a ton about the star stuff. Forgot probably a lot of what I learned that you could remind me about. But yeah, I loved it, man. The Crunch and Munch is my favorite one. It is. Really? I don't care what anybody says. Crunch and Munch and Gatorade are the two that I love the most. You know, and you know, I guess those are probably way down on the list for a lot of people. But those are the two that kind of really struck me visually. You know. That's kind of my experience in Star. That's my experience in Fleer. So as the time people watch this video, I don't own a single, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't own a single Michael Jordan Star card, and I don't own a single 1986 Fleer card of anybody.
Yeah, you said you mentioned you changed directions, and that was you know, why you did it. Tell me about what was the direction change there?
You mean getting out of the star cards? Where did
Or
it go?
getting out of the Fleer. I don't either or. Yeah, I heard it when you were talking about the Fleer.
Yeah.
You said you were putting up your 10 and
yeah. So there's what 143. Well, I sold the PSA 8 and 9 sets just for pure money. Those were investments because I had the 10 set, so that was my baby. So I sold the 8s and 9s just to make money, and all that money went back into rare high-end 90s Jordans. And then with the 86 Fleer set, I started thinking to myself, I was like, why do I have 50 grand tied up in at the time? Now it's 13 grand. Johnny Moore. Why the hell do I have a Johnny Moore PSA 10 card? I love Michael Jordan cards. I love collecting Michael Jordan inserts and parallels from the 90s. I don't have a Star 101. I don't have, a PMG this. I don't have this credentials, this rubies. Why do I have 40, 50 grand tied up in a stupid Johnny Moore 86 Fleer card that's only valuable because it's a 10 and because there's a printing defect and a print dot? Let me get out of this. So I sold 141 and kept the Jordan sticker and the Jordan base. And so that, I kept those for about 2 years. And then I asked myself the same question. And it's like, why do I have, and this is going to sound, why do I have all this money? We'll just leave it at that. All this money tied up in those two cards when I can go get these cards anytime I want. But there's other Jordan cards that we're now not seeing as often that I might not see for 3 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years. I've got to get these cards because I know one day I've got to have them. I've got to get them now. I can always come back. I can back into a BGS 9.5 Jordan. I can back into a PSA 9 Jordan and still sleep at night. Okay. But if I pass on these other cards that I may or may never get a chance to purchase, I got to do it. And so that's why out with those Jordans and in with, I've already spent the money that I haven't gotten from selling the ones on Sunday. I've got a deal in place in principle to pick up a really big a really big Jordan card. It's actually in my Fanatics vault already, but I
Oh,
haven't paid
wow.
for it yet. It's a good friend of mine, so I haven't paid for it yet, but it's technically mine. I just got to give the guy the money. So I'm
Oh,
excited about it.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I got to get it at 86. I mean, I got to get an 84 star 101, but there is no way on God's green earth I am possibly touching that with a 500-foot pole right now. There's no way. I could not. I promise you that card is going to be in my collection, and it's going to be in a pretty high grade, but it will not be anytime soon. I'm going to let the dust settle and find that saturation point. Hey, look,
I don't, yeah,
Brian,
I don't
Brian,
have
you
the
may be
same
able to say,
confidence
I
of
told
you
you
of it
so.
falling. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, Brian, I told you so. You may be able to say that one day, but I got to take my chances on that because I can get one anytime. It's not rare, and 86 Fleer is not rare. I can buy 10 of them today if I had enough money. But the stuff
Yeah.
that I'm picking up is just, you got to go overseas. You got to knock on doors. You got to beg and plead to people to find the stuff that I'm trying to put in my collection.
And to ask you about that, that's kind of exactly what I did because I do love the 86. Really, there's a couple of must-have cards, and to me, the star cards and the 86 Fleer, and the other ones are a lot easier to get, but for me, the 80s, that was my time that I collected. I like what's nice for me is the 90s inserts. I didn't get into the big dollar ones. So to me, just simple ones that I can pick up, like Beam Team or something like that,
Yes,
cool
hell
ones.
yes.
Those are
Yes.
the ones I like. And thank God they're like really cheap. I can get anything pretty easy. So I
Yes.
focused on the star, but I
Mm-hmm.
did a big shift when I got back in. I said, there's no point in me going after an 86 Fleer, and I can give this up because the things that are hard to get, I see they're kind of getting, it seemed like there was a movement even about a year ago. And I don't know if you noticed it, it was around then. At what point in time it seems like everyone's kind of going after the more rare stuff. It seems like that seems to be it. You
They're
notice that?
going after the, well, it's interesting, Ryan, because I'll just tell you, and I look at this I mean, I live and breathe this. This
Right.
is my full-time job. I have two full-time jobs. This is one of them. Uh, People are going after high grade Michael Jordans that are low pop. They're not necessarily rare. I mean, some of these cards have, PSA graded, 1,200, 1,500 times. So these are not the rarest cards, but they may be a PSA 10 pop 12, top pop 5, pop 9. People are paying tens of thousands, in some cases over $100,000 for cards that are not that rare, but they're low pop in PSA 10. So right now in the Jordan world, that's the direction that people are pushing. And so of course I'm going to zag and I'm going a different direction. I'm going for the cards that are rare, not the graded card, not the grade that's rare, the cards that are rare in lower grades. So while everybody's distracted with the PSA 10s, and look, nobody loves PSA 10 Jordans more than me. I've had to make some sacrifices, and I'm actually selling a bunch of PSA 10 Jordans while the getting's good, and take the money and reinvest it into some super rare PSA 8s, PSA 7s. This Grail I picked up was a PSA 6.
Let me interrupt you real quick because that's kind of something that Dave, it's weird. Dave's a high-end collector, but I see, to me, there seems to be a pretty big disconnect between like a PSA 9 and 10 and how much the disparity of price makes zero sense to me.
Zero.
And I choose not to go that direction. Honestly, for like 101s, there's seven because of the discrepancy. And that's one thing I say on charts with the 101 and the 86 Fleer, they're so condition sensitive. You have a seven that you can have two different 7.5s and they're almost very different in quality. You can have different quality looks. I would rather have like four of those than one PSA 9. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And it sounds like you're kind of eyeballing that too. The price disparity doesn't make sense to me.
I am, but you could say the exact same thing about the Star 101. Would you rather have
Right, right. Absolutely.
23 PSA 7s or one PSA 9?
Right.
That's the price disparity right now, Ryan.
Right. And I agree. And
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy.
We are crazy people, but that is really crazy.
I know I'm seeing that like when I saw that, obviously, I guess we could even just ask you about that. You also didn't think that the PSA 9, you were like, there is no way another PSA 9 will sell for this ever. And I think I even put that on wait, I put this on your channel on the
I
925.
think, yeah, I think it's a I think Dave just hit a grand slam with that sale. Let's just
He
put it that
did.
way.
He did.
That's
I
my
actually,
personal opinion.
again, it depends on viewpoints. I actually think that over time, I'm thinking that again, that's my mindset, and a lot of other people have that mindset. I'm looking at this perception shift, and it's a different way of viewing these cards than
Mhm.
that's why it was news. I did see this as fundamental. I don't know if you ever saw that October Beckett when they came out in October 2022, and the star cover. I could rip it off my wall right now, but
I
it's
haven't looked at a print Beckett in 20 years, so no, I did not see
gotcha, gotcha.
it. No,
Actually, let
but I
me grab
collect
it.
that issue number one that you got behind you back there, Ryan. I collect that
Yes, that's.
in CGC 9.8.
Hold on one second. Let me pull this out, rip it out
God, I
with
remember getting
the
those Beckett
Jordan stuff.
magazines. There was nothing more exciting as a kid than getting that Beckett magazine.
Oh yeah, remember? Oh gosh, that
That's a
was the
great
best.
Seinfeld reference. I love it. I love the title. I love the title.
They're real. They're yeah. So if you haven't seen that,
Yeah.
um, but I looked in and that was kind of like the thing that like they're real and everything and kind of that just seeing that fundamental shift. And I don't know if you saw my other videos when I was like, when I'm basically going that, it's the true rookie card and I was giving interview pieces and
Yeah.
Nat Turner, I think his
Yeah.
position and
I
protein.
saw you strong arm Nat into that opinion.
I have got to
I'm just
get him
kidding.
I got to get him on an interview.
He's awesome, man. He's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your stuff with him, and oh my gosh, the stuff he has is like that's like disgusting.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely incredible.
It is a gift.
Yeah, but just kind of looking at stuff like that and that perception change. When I look at a mantle, I look at our generation, and then to me, it's like a low population. If you look at it, I mean, I just join me in fuzzy land or what, kind of join me in a different viewpoint that if you actually look at it as the true rookie card and you look at how few there are, and there's three PSA
Mhm.
nines, I actually see a lot more upside for that card. Like I think a PSA 9 could be, in that mantle, what, 12.5 million?
Yeah.
Wait till our generation gets that money.
The problem is, you're looking at it from the perspective of someone who collects and loves Star. If you look at it from the perspective of a Jordan collector and a high end Jordan collector, this card is not super important. The 86 Fleer is not super important. Those are not in the top probably 50 cards that high end Jordan collectors are looking for. It's probably not in the top 100 cards. It's probably not in the top 150 cards. I mean, I know Jordan collectors that have $25 million collections. They don't own an 86 Fleer or a Star because that's not what the Jordan collectors chasing. That's what Star set collectors are chasing. That's what Star collectors love. And look, everything I'm saying about the Star, you could say the exact same thing about 86 Fleer collectors. I know those guys. Those dudes are passionate. Like y'all are carrying torches and pitchforks. Those dudes are just as crazy. It would be like an Anchorman when the gangs came and they met up and they were killing each other with maces and swords. That's what that would look like if the 86 Fleer folks and y'all came together on a street corner. It'd be nasty, man. I'd be there watching, eating popcorn. Um, no, it's just that's the thing you got to remember is that we've turned into a hobby where people collect players more than they collect sets. People collect players more than they collect teams. And that being said, there's so much more demand for Jordan than anything else out there. It's not even close.
Not
You know,
even close. I've said
it's
that
not even close. Like
right.
it's weird. Yeah.
I upset a Mantle person the other day. I said Jordan's more collected than Mantle. He's like, are you
Oh, it's
crazy?
not
And I
close.
was like,
It's
is this a
way more.
question?
Yeah.
Of course,
Not more valuable, not more valuable, more collected, like demand. Because remember, everything is
right,
supply and demand. The
right.
supply for the Star 101 is what probably 1/15th. I know people are gonna say different, but I think probably 12 to 15,000 Jordan Fleer have been crossed. And so I think that pop report's almost as screwed up as the Star pop report is gonna be, because are y'all concerned about that, by the way?
Not really.
BGS, I mean, they're gonna half of them are gonna be cracked, and then they're still gonna show up as BGS graded, but then they're also
It's been
PSA graded.
slow. Yeah. The thing is, it's been 2 years. It's been slow.
You look at it closer. Is it not been bad? Like, I mean, nobody
No,
nobody turns the label in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still gonna
yeah,
show
yeah, yeah,
up.
yeah. I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not been that bad. That the upside was probably about gosh, I want to say 7% in about a year increase
Okay.
between both of them. So it definitely isn't. I know that's everyone's main concern. The pop report's going to go up, but it just it hasn't flown
Yeah,
up.
it hadn't flown up yet. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, I hope it doesn't. I mean, in a perfect world, in with a PSA, out with a Beckett, in with
Right,
a
but
PSA, but it's never in the same thing
yeah,
with
it
86
won't
Fleer.
work that way.
I think probably 10,000 have been either cracked and recracked PSA to PSA or cracked BGS to PSA. And back in the day, the crazy shit is they used to crack PSA to try to get BGS 9.5s. They cracked PSA 10s to try to get a BGS 9.5 because Beckett was the top dog at one point. You remember?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, it's funny. The pop reports aren't perfect, but they're all we got. And so, you know,
Right. Right.
anyway, what I was getting at is supply and demand. Obviously, Star in a whole nother world supply wise, but 86 Fleer is just the card that I mean, again, to be clear, both of these cards, the Star 101 and 86 Fleer 57, those are the cards that new money looks for first. If Mark Wahlberg says, I want a basketball card, he's going to look at two cards. He's going to look at the 86 Fleer first, and he's going to look at the Star 101 second. You know why? Because he doesn't know what a precious metal gem is.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what a credentials is. He doesn't know what a rubies is. You know why? Because
Right.
it's calculus, and he's taking remedial math. The same thing if somebody comes in from the baseball world. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it takes a long time, and I am living proof of that. When I came in, I went straight to 86 Fleer. That's where all of my money went. I bought low, sold high, made a bunch of money, and it is what it is. But I think that new money is coming in straight to Fleer, straight to Star. And when stories come out like what's going on with the Star, it's a blessing and a curse. It's great. It's fantastic. It brings tons of exposure to Star, which is an incredibly fascinating story. And not just one
Isn't it?
story, it's a compilation of hundreds of stories.
Right. I was going to say yeah, it really is.
Right? Good stories, bad stories, but it all ties into making those cards mean something.
It's unique.
I put that card, this Star 101, in tier one of the Michael Jordan hierarchy with all these other crazy valuable cards. There's a reason I put it in there. It's because people do care about it.
Yeah,
It's
a base, and the other thing is it's a base set card. I mean, that's the unique thing. It has such a low pop for a base set card. I understand for not for an insert. I guess that it's not rare for an insert, but base set, there's almost no beating it. It is as rare as it gets for a base set card. So, oh no, I just my
head start, so they're not afraid to get in and do what it is that we love.
Right. Oh, cool. Very cool. Okay. I was wondering, yeah, because that's a lot of work.
Just a lot of work. It's a lot of fun, but I had to do it anyway. So I was like, well, why don't I just put it on a poster and talk about it a lot and hit record, see what
All
happens.
right. So in the last few minutes, give me your top five that you're chasing now in order, possibly.
Okay, let's see. All right, I've got tier one pulled up here. So nobody knows, well, some people know this, but I have pre-purchased my number five on my list of Michael Jordan cards in the world that are actually attainable. So the ones that I'm chasing would be Essential Credentials, StarQuest Gold, Molten Metal Fusion Titanium, and Playmakers Theater, and where am I? And the 97 rubies. Those
Oh,
would be the four. Those would be the five.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Those are all big. So those are the kind of deal where if you get one a year, you're damn lucky. If you see one a year, you're lucky, to be honest.
Right. That's what I was going to say. What time frame are you looking? Do you think you'd be able to?
I don't know. I just put them on a list, and if I see one of those five, I've got to make a lot of moves. I mean, I've got to I'd have to sell a lot of cards to go get. I don't have it in my sock. I mean, it's big cards. So I got to go. And now I got to replace my 86 Fleers. I just sold them both, so I got to probably go pick up some PSA 9s or BGS 9.5s of those as well. So we'll see. A couple steps back, take a big.
No, it was good to hear. So yeah, it was good to hear in this talk, just kind of like that same kind of mindset is I think a lot of people are switching out to that. They're kind of questioning the higher grade. Like, do I need a 10? Like, what do I need a 10? The difference between 9 and 10. Well, what about 8 and 7? Am I okay with that? And then also, I got to get that. Well, I don't get a chance to get that. Those don't only pop up. So I got to have some cash and be a little liquid, for when that time does occur. And I think that's what a lot of people are. I'm just seeing like a kind of a shift towards that.
It's weird, Brian. The less rare the card is, the more the grade matters on the price. So like if you have let's say a 150,000 or a $250,000 card, to go from a PSA 8 to a PSA 6 is not going to affect the value that much. But if you've got like a $2,000 card, the 9 might be $2,000. the 10 might legitimately be $45,000, like
Oh my
same
God.
card. So you're talking 20x. Sometimes I just did a video the other day on a hologram card, 50x,
Yeah.
50x from a PSA 9 to a PSA 10, the same hologram, 50 times the price.
Yeah, that just makes no sense to
That
me
does not make
whatsoever.
it makes sense. There's a premium. It doesn't make sense that it's 50x, right?
Right, right.
So,
Right, exactly.
yeah,
I get it. I get being more expensive. I don't get 50x.
50x. No, no, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
and that's why that's why I struggled when the 86 Fleer went to PSA 10. I was like, I got one, that's great, but like this is not okay. This can't happen. This is not okay because I know it's not okay because I know that these 6 cards that add up to that are much more important than that one card right there. So that's the way I always try to look at it: is where else could my money be spent that would, kind of probably perform better long term.
Gotcha. Yep.
Stuff. It's
Totally
fun.
agree.
Yeah,
Cool. Really appreciate it, man.
of course,
Is there
man.
is there any last thing you want to tell the star people
Yeah,
there?
well, the last thing I want to say is I'll say this to star people and non-star people or just baseball card collectors is that if you're a serious Jordan collector, you got to have both these cards. That's the first thing I'll say. Whether you think it's a rookie, you don't think it's a rookie, the fact that those 2 cards are really important is undeniable, indisputable, and it's not even worth discussing. I mean, we could talk about the X and the RC or the XRC all day long, but those are 2 cards that every Jordan collector's got to have, in their collector. And then, the other thing I'll say is, this is kind of a hot topic, but I think that there's probably some resentment from people that don't own that Star 101 right now, from people that are very excited about what the Star 101 is doing. Right? I'm not one of those people. I'm on the sidelines watching. I think it's fascinating, but just the method of delivery, and you do a great job, Ryan. You do a really good job of trying to make sure you're very passionate, you're very confident, and you love Star cards, and that's why you got a YouTube channel, and that's why I watch your YouTube channel. It's the method of delivery, right? It's just like a Jordan collector saying Jordan, 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 and I get in that habit too. I got to remember, I'm probably pissing off Kobe Bryant collectors. so my method of delivery, every once in a while, I need to check myself and look in the mirror and say, hey, man, not everybody out there gives a damn about Jordan cards. Like some people out
Right.
there are collecting LeBron and they hate Jordan, or they collect Kobe and they hate Jordan. So and I see that from all sorts of different directions. So, as long as we keep that in perspective, man, the hobby's awesome. I think the star card running right now is fascinating. It's awesome. It's
It's
really good for the
fascinating.
hobby. It's bringing huge attention to the hobby. And I was supposed to have Dave on the channel, I think next week. He's like, I'm a little bit busy right now. And now I know why, right? So he was supposed to come on this week. I was like, yeah, you are a little bit busy. He's figuring out what kind of yacht he wants to buy is what he's doing.
Right.
And I'm gonna
Right.
take credit because I told him, I was like, Dave, you're an idiot. You should have sold these 2 cards for $2 million and go buy 700 PSA sevens. And he finally took my advice. And so when he comes on the channel, I'm gonna say, Dave, I told you so. You're welcome.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that with you
Yeah.
and Dave. That'll be fun. So,
Look,
cool, man.
that's the only one that I have.
That is the Dave Denzel rookie card right there. Yep, I
That's
got
it.
three of
Given to
them.
me personally. I should have had him sign the damn thing. He's my hero now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he was giving those out at Burbank. I know. I have three of them. We call Dave Denzel rookie cards.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'll gladly take it. I'll gladly take it.
Right on, man. Great talk. That was a lot of fun. So
Yep.
you appreciate, and I can't wait to see that interview. So appreciate you coming on. It's been a great, great time.
Anytime, man. I'm always available.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it, man.
Cool. Thanks,
All right,
Ryan.
see ya.
See you.
Hold on